Good day and welcome to Stabrook Boom. I'm Jennifer Jabbar. Well, we're coming to the end of the year 2020, which has been a really trying year for all of us. Well, we're turning our focus now to Guyana. We're looking at the progress that has been made by the People's Progressive Party civic government led by President Dr. Irfan Ali, and which took office on August 2nd. We're going to be getting an update from Dr. Peter Ramsaroop, who is the Chief Executive Officer for the Office for Investment, which comes under the Office of the President. Dr. Peter Ramsaroop, who is an expert in private and public policy, as well as an economist, and he holds a doctorate in public policy. Now, Peter will be giving us the macroeconomics of the country as it relates to the progress that was made since August 2nd, and more specifically as it relates to GINVEST, all the investment opportunities that he would have facilitated through his office at GINVEST. Dr. Ramsaroop, I want to thank you so much for joining us today on Stabrook Boom here on Guyanese Diaspora News to update, especially people in the diaspora, as to what's been happening in Guyana, especially to bring clarity and perspective to everything that has happened. We know there's been lots of meetings that were held from foreign direct investors. So we want to bring perspective to that. Let us know exactly, what has been happening. What are some of the main progress made as it relates to the macroeconomics of the country? And how are we taking Guyana forward?
Well, it's exciting times, very exciting times. I'll always want to go back to our fight for democracy in Guyana. It has stabilized our country. It has given a new life to both our citizens and our diaspora and our investment climate around the world. Guyana is open for investment. It's the number one destination. It's the fastest growing economy per capita. We have a president that is defined and implementing a very aggressive economic agenda. And as those projects come to play, infrastructure development, you see a lot of that happening within the Guyana infrastructure process. And we are seeing an influx of both foreign and local investments coming into our office, looking for those opportunities that will see a return on investment, both for Guyana, for our people, and for the company. So the public-private partnership approach is definitely going to be an exciting time as we execute some of this in 2021. And we have had interest from governments. We have seen visits from our neighboring Suriname. We have seen the funding stream expanded from the UK, from the Islamic Bank, from other bilateral agencies. So a lot of focus is on our country. And as we move forward, we want especially the diaspora and investors and our local citizens to understand that government is here to facilitate our progress. We're here to be part of that progress, and we want folks to enjoy what they do and also have a good return on their investment.
Mm-hmm. In terms of a value, in terms of the dollar figure, what's the number looking like in terms of the investment opportunities or interests that have been expressed?
It varies. For example, one supporting oil company plans to spend about 3 billion Guyana dollars on equipment to bring their regional hub to Guyana. That now investment, for example, will create local jobs. It will create downstream industries for the machine areas, the shipping industry to get the parts out to the oil rigs. So as you add those investment up, they are significant in the billions of dollars, and it creates thousands of jobs in the broader scheme. Another good example is government put out expression of interest for 2,000 rooms of hotels. Well, we got interest for about 5,000 rooms of hotels. If, as they move to their next phase and start construction, those that are ready to start construction, that investment, is approximately $20 to $50 million to build, a 200-room hotel. It could be more based on the type of hotel. That will create not just financial investment for the country, but it also creates job opportunities from multiple levels of those who supply the stone, the cement, the contractors, the steel. And ultimately, the goal is to have those rooms available as Guyana changes over the next 5 years based on our aggressive economic agenda by Dr. Fanali and his government.
Mm-hmm. So tell us a bit about the agriculture sector. I know you would have met with with the Mexicans, with diplomats from Chile and so forth. Tell us about that South-South cooperation and how we can expand in the agriculture sector, because we know that's a big base for Guyanese.
Well, the agriculture sector, has been the foundation of Guyana over the decades that we have since I can remember. And the expansion of agriculture is going to be significant. Oil and gas is an enabling environment for us, but until we continue to build our known industries, we need to be stabilized in those industries. So on the agriculture sector side, we know Chile, for example, has significant science in agriculture. And I think their interest in Guyana, both from government and private sector, is real. And we want to kind of bridge those gaps. We need large-scale plantation farming. We are going to expand the poultry industry in Guyana to supply poultry around the world. With that comes the inputs need of the stock feed, the soybeans and the corn that has to be grown. So we're looking for large-scale farming in some of these areas. We talk a lot about plantation agriculture. We're looking at the cattle industry, the dairy plant setups. We have mass lands available to expand the agriculture sector. And with the relationship with South-South, we're able to bring that, both the technology, the people, and the markets. We know CARICOM alone imports billions of US dollars worth of food every year. We need to capture a piece of that market. We already have bilateral trading agreements with CARICOM. We need to expand on that market. And that's why the president talks about our infrastructure plan so aggressively as we build the road to Brazil, as we connect the Quarantine River with Suriname, as we build the Deepwater Harbor in our country. That opens up trade markets, and the transport economics becomes cheaper. And so as you expand on the agriculture side, then you can move to agro-processing. As we bring the gas to shore and the Amalia Falls come online, it is expected that energy costs will go down by over 50%. So as you plan your projects out, in the time it takes to bring the gas to shore, the Amalia Falls, bring the energy costs down, the road to Brazil, the Deepwater Harbor, all happening at the same time, the bridging of the Quarantine to Suriname, you've got to skate to where that puck is going to be aggressively, because you've got to be ready for your industry and your investment to be able to support. Even if we go back just to the hotel industry, think of the inputs that goes into that hotel industry, the amount of food that needs to be targeted, services, the laundry services, the support logistics services, all changes from where we're at today and where we will be in the near future. And that's what investors, when they come in, are interested. They're trying to understand where Guyana is going, where do they fit, and we're trying to help them pick the right project based on their specialty and where they should be doing that, and give them the best opportunity and facilitate that investment. Because ultimately, as our president said, our goal in Guyana is to make sure our people are employed, our people have the capacity to deliver. And that's why the other part that I'm seeing that is very, very thankful that I'm seeing that is the local investors are stepping up. They're building capacity. I have more local investors actually coming in the office than foreign investors right now. So our local market is stepping up to the challenge. And, I know this is a diaspora program also. The government has put out a diaspora initiative to attract the diaspora back. And the diaspora needs to be looking, in their specialty where they can contribute. The government has talked about, ensuring private sector healthcare is incentivized. They're looking at specialty hospital. We're looking at, ensuring the security environment is well addressed. And with that stability brings comfort to the investors, to the diaspora, to the local market, that Guyana is open for investments, it's open for business, and we have an administration that is accountable and transparent to the people, and we will ensure that all rules are followed as we project where Guyana will be in the near future and what is happening today.
Mm-hmm. So the Amila Falls and the Gas to Shore project, what are the timelines are we looking at, and can it happen within this 5 years?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's sad that the previous government stopped. It's almost criminal that they stopped the Amila Falls project. We would have had cheaper energy today in Guyana, or people would have benefited from it. It's a criminal act that they stopped the Amila Falls. That would have been already in place. So now we are restarting that. That timeline goes back to the 3+ years. The gas to shore pipeline is approximately 2.5 years, on place. It could be probably done faster based on the technical approach. But those things will come together within 5 years. The president says cheaper energy is a must. That's a plan that has to and will be implemented. And all these other industries that needs that input and the output from the energy is the target for our country. And without cheaper energy, it's very difficult to build some of the bigger industries. We want to get into manufacturing. We want to have our own smelting plant. We see the gold industry expanding. There's just been a large acquisition of gold. We're moving to underground mining of gold. So the resources in Guyana is there. Bauxite is another big find, and we're hearing that there's new opportunities in the bauxite industry. There, we have one of the best sand in the country, in the world, that can be turned into glass. So as energy costs comes down, you're going to see some manufacturing sector being one of the other fastest growing sectors that will be coming our way.
Mm-hmm. In our last conversation, we had talked about the one window. Give us an update as to what's happening to ensure that investors navigate their way easier.
Well, everything is being streamlined. From our office perspective, we try our best to coordinate and make sure that if an investor is running into trouble with a building permit or whatever, we get involved. I know the Bank of Guyana has reduced the requirements for opening bank accounts. It taking a few days to register a company, get your tax TIN, to get your bank account. And so once an investor is here, I think they will find that it's much more streamlined. And ultimately, the government goal is to get that single window approach so that you can, register your company online and get things done at a quicker pace. But I find it still fairly friendly. We are doing our best to ensure that there's no complaints from the investors, and the local entities too are stepping up to the plate.
What are the areas you think the diaspora can tap into?
Well, diaspora, I mentioned, I think the last time, it's like your first love. Guyana is their first love. No matter where a diaspora lives, that Guyana flag on their car or home or their interface will always be there. That first love, it never goes away. And with that commitment of that first love, they want to come back. And what we want to make sure is that they're welcome back and given the same opportunities and be able to feel that it was worthwhile coming back to their first love. And that's why I think the government has embarked on the diaspora plan and the diaspora engagement to ensure that, we welcome and put us back together. We are brothers and sisters around the world. Some have gone away and got good expertise. Some have stayed here and got good expertise. None of us are better than each other. We need to just bridge where we fit. I advise that diaspora to look at the local market, see where they can do joint ventures. The president talks about a new city that he wants to build. Imagine instead of moving from New York City to Florida, you sell your house in Richmond and you're going to move to Florida. Why not move to Guyana? Get a piece of land on the highway next to water that you get your boat and you take it out to the Demerara River, nicer than the intercoastal in Florida. So when we see the vision of what our president has proposed, I see a lot of the diaspora making Guyana their retirement destination, much less those now that can make it their investment destination. This is where you ought to be. And Guyana is going to be on the move. You're not going to recognize Guyana in 5 years. So now is the time to start, looking at where you want to be and how you want to be. And I think we have a lot better to offer in the near future that we would have had to offer in the past. And out of that comes political stability. We know the world will protect Guyana under democracy. We know our people will fight to ensure democracy and dictatorship never rules in our country. And the more of us that understands that and be part of it in Guyana will ensure that stability continues.
Mm-hmm. So tell us a bit about tourism, attracting tourism. How are you working with the other office and the Ministry of Tourism to attract foreigners to visit Guyana, which can also, boost the economy? And for tourism, you also want to make sure that, security is controlled. How are we working in those areas?
As you know, Guyana was voted the #1 ecotourism destination in 2020. COVID-19 didn't get us a chance to show the world that we were the #1 destination. Ministry of Tourism is on an aggressive plan. Minister Waldron has talked a lot about ecotourism. She was the author of the expansion of the hotels. And, with ecotourism, COVID-19 has opened our eyes to that we need much more outdoor locations to visit. And we are going to embark as a government on an ecotourism initiative very shortly to expand those opportunities. Ministers of Public Home Affairs have outlined an aggressive plan on the national security issues. We're expanding and training our police forces, the right equipment. And as you put those together, you put healthcare together, I see us as the attractive destination now. And, again, if investors are interested in the ecotourism approach, apart from the hotel industry, we're wide open. There's some lucrative investment portfolios available to come in and expand that. We're going to be also upgrading a lot of our airports around the country. I think it's about over 100 airports we have around Guyana. Folks may not know that the Essequibo Island has 365 islands. Essequibo River has 365 islands in it. So we have a lot of great destinations. And, I travel, from Georgetown to Latam through the trail. And, when I drive through that, I see places, and I've traveled every 50 state in the United States. I see a little of Wyoming, a little of Colorado, a little of Iowa as we go through Guyana. So we have a beautiful eco destination. And I believe, again, that's another sector that you're going to see develop aggressively.
In terms of the local entrepreneurs, what are some of the areas that local people are interested in investing in?
Well, they're expanding their operations from agriculture to tourism. Out of the hotel interest, we've got, I think, close to five plus local investors looking to do their local brands in Guyana and part of it national brands. The expansion in manufacturing, the value-added products. We got some of the best products. I went to the Marriott yesterday, and surprisingly, I ordered coconut water. And it came in a beautiful packaged bottle, coconut water from the Pomeroon. And it tasted just like I went to Border Market and had that coconut fresh.
Wow.
So industries like that will expand. If I was in the U.S., I want a coconut water from Guyana. And to see that taste bottled in an expert way, well packaged, tasted, it kept the flavor. I see investment like that, local investors just trying to expand that, get the market outside of Guyana, and see their return on investment come to fruition.
I know you had that meeting with Singapore. How close is Guyana's vision to align with that of Singapore? Because I know the two countries gained independence at the same time, but obviously Guyana was not able to progress as Singapore. So what can we learn from Singapore to sort of mirror what they have there?
I think it's with vision. And if you look at Dr. Irfan on the 2nd of August, taking charge of our nation, a man with vision, a man that I call him the working president, hands-on president. He has a PhD in urban planning. He understands very well what Guyana needs to look like over the next 20 years. And as that plan unfolds, and it's already unfolding in the 2020 budget and in the 2021 budget about to be read in the new year, you're going to see that vision. And with vision and action plans and implementation schedules, you will see us moving along. We may be different in Singapore and location and natural resources. I think we have our indigenous approach to seeing Guyana develop. People call us the next Dubai or the Dubai of the Caribbean and South America. Whatever it will become something that Guyanese around the world will be proud, and this is our country. You know, when I talk to an investor and I tell them we have 9 billion barrels of oil in the reserve, and that could double in the next 10 years, we can go from 1 FPSO to 2 FPSOs to 18 FPSOs, a million barrels of oil ultimately a day. It's even when I say those words, it becomes like, wow, this is Guyana, this is ours. And to see that happening in front of our eyes, it's one of the most exciting times, I think, for us to be in Guyana. And go back to your question on diaspora. I think this is the most exciting time. A lot left in the 80s under the dictatorship of Burnham. A lot left because they wanted better opportunities for their children. I believe Guyana now offers a better opportunities for the diaspora to be back here in the next 5 years, be part of the development, pay scales, the markets that they are accustomed to, work that they may have done around the world. Guyana becomes that equal partner now. And that's where I think we've got to focus on. And that's why you see the president has opened up our country for investors, for developers internal to Guyana and to the diaspora and to our citizens. He wants to see them create wealth so that our citizens benefit from Guyana's resources. And you can ask for a better vision from Dr. Ali. And I think that as it's implemented over the next 4 or 5 years under the new budget 2021 coming out, you need to be here to feel it. And I know when I sit in my office and I see 6 private jets fly into Guyana in the last 2 weeks from Australia to the United States, from Europe coming in, they see something also, that Guyana is a place to be. Guyana is a place they need to get themselves in quickly. We will protect our resources, we will protect our people, we will protect our environment, but we will welcome those investors and ensure that they get an opportunity. And it's an exciting to have those conversations with them, because ultimately it's our people that will benefit from it.
Mm-hmm. So Peter, we want to wrap up shortly. How concerned is the government right now? We know that in Europe, for example, they're switching to electric cars. You know, the demand for oil is dropping around the world. This window that we have right now is looking like it's a short window. How concerned is the government to make sure that this oil is extracted and make sure that we benefit, and also looking at, long term, whether this oil will be in demand?
Yeah, the market drives, fossil fuels will always have a market that will come down over the decades. Definitely, the gas is a renewable energy source. I mean, we're looking at expansion of solar energy, in wind farms, hydropower. So yes, we are multifaceted. We're not going to just depend on one sector of our economy, which is the oil sector. That's why I mentioned the agriculture sector. I mentioned the cheaper energy, the services sector, manufacturing is where Guyana will see those benefits. So let's use and exploit the resources today in order to set the stage to build that stronger foundation that now becomes the solid pillars that will take us into the next decade. And, I see all of those. And then the other thing that will help us, we get to jump the curve too. We don't have to go systematically to get to those renewable energies and those new technologies that are out there. As it comes about, we can move into that environment quicker than many other places because we'll have the ability and the resources to develop those and bring those technologies also to Guyana.
Mm-hmm. So from August 2nd, how would you rate the government's performance from August 2nd to date as the year comes to a close?
If I, have to go get a report card and I'm in the system, but I'm also, as you know, been a critic of past. I've been aggressive in talking about the future of Guyana. When I listen to Dr. Finale and the administration, I look at the ministers that he has selected around him. That report card is absolutely at its best. They are working hard for people. They inherited a bankrupt economy. They inherited a stagnated economy, a politically corrupt economy. And to see the changes from 2nd of August to now, to see the change in the moods of our people, to see the change in the mood of the outside world, the fact that governments are interested in Guyana at the very senior level, that tells you our report card checkbox is at the top. And it will continue. And our president believes in transparency and accountability, and that's what everyone wants. And as long as we continue to do that, which we will, Guyana is on the move. It's in a transformative agenda by the president. It's in a development agenda by our president. And ultimately, again, it's to the benefit of our people. And President Ali will get that rating at the end of this year. But he has said his challenge is to ensure the direction. He's a visionary, but he's also an implementer. And I'm excited to just be part of the team and to see this Guyana, which we all love, cherish our love. We want to be here, develop. So whatever a diaspora is sitting in their chair, whether it's in New York or London or Toronto or Miami, I said, you know what, I wish Guyana was like, they look outside the window. They have the opportunity to help make it happen. Come back, help make that vision happen with us. And I think we'll all, 5 years from now, says, wow, this is the Guyana we all dreamed of. We finally got a chance to do it ourselves as a team.
Dr. Peter Ramsaroop, I want to thank you so much for giving us this time and opportunity to share with the diaspora, especially the progress so far in Guyana as it relates to investment and other macro level enterprises and opportunities that is happening in Guyana. So I want to thank you so much for coming on the program today.
Merry Christmas. You didn't say anything with my tie. I have my Christmas tie on.
I didn't notice. I'm so sorry.
Greetings to all around the world.
Merry Christmas to you too, Peter, to you and your staff.
Thank you.
Yeah.